Welcome everybody to Ground Zero, the podcast, the Green Room. We are very pleased and honored right now to be here with another legend. We have Mr. Gregg Wright in the building today.
Yes,
How you doing,
sir.
Mr. Gregg?
I'm doing good, sir. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Welcome to Biloxi.
Good to be here.
Yes, indeed. So we also have the queen of Ground Zero Biloxi, Miss Lindsey, in the building, and she has a couple questions. Lindsey.
Hello.
So if you want to start us off, let's kick this off. Let's get into it.
You got it. Well, like I said, you got Mr. Gregg Wright here, who was also inducted to the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame in 2013. And he was also received the Living Legend Blues Award in 2019. But I want to go way back when. Growing up,
Ooh.
I knew you grew up in Jersey, which is kind of
Okay.
funny because his mom was from Jersey. But growing up then, do you feel that there was like a blues influence growing up then, or was it to when you moved to Wichita Falls?
Really, my mother used to tune in to a black radio station in Newark, New Jersey called WNJR. And they had blues on that all the time. So I was walking to school singing the blues, but I didn't know that's what I was singing, So growing up at that time, I'm talking like early to mid 60s. Blues was just part of the black culture fabric. It really was. Like a lot of my relatives, my aunts and uncles and stuff, they were church folks. Until we went to the backyard barbecues and people got a few down their neck, then the Jimmy Reed records come out.
Yes, sir.
So that was my experience growing up there.
I know she was more church and ballroom dancing, and then your dad was jazz, and then you were more rock and roll.
Yeah, it just made for just the perfect combination of genetic whatever.
Mixture.
That brought
You
you
know.
into the blues, or
No, that stuff, I'm telling you, the adults in my family, they played that stuff all the time. Especially when they got a few cocktails going around.
Yeah. So speaking of that, so let's talk a little bit more about the genres, right? So, like you said, you were singing something, and you didn't even know what it was necessarily, just because that was culture to you and growing up, and that's what you had been around. So, what do you think your inspiration when you decided to actually come out and say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna be a guitarist and I'm gonna be a damn good."
I'll tell you the exact moment it happened. The exact moment was when I saw Jimi Hendrix.
Okay. Give us a time frame. What was that?
It was a couple months before he died.
Wow.
It was like June of 1970.
Okay.
And we were living in D.C. at the time. And the concert was in Baltimore, which is only about 35 miles away. And I wasn't really thinking anything or expecting anything. I played a little guitar, but it wasn't like lifeblood kind of guitar. It was just hobby guitar. I went to that concert, and whoever I was when I sat down, by the time that concert was over, that person was dead and gone.
Wow.
And when we rode back to D.C., I was with a carload of my buddies. I didn't say a word to nobody. I just sat there staring into space like, wow, man, what did I just see? What was that?
Wow.
I got to learn how to do that, And I remember at the time I was big on football. I wanted to be a football player. And when I got home, my dad asked me, he said, "Well, how's your concert, son?" And I looked right at him and I said, "Dad, football is over."
What? Was it what he was playing? Was it a specific song? Was it the overall entertainment experience? Like, what was so captivating that changed your life?
Hendrix had a strong spirit. It was like, he did that song Voodoo Child.
Oh, yeah.
I understood.
Definitely one of my favorites.
When he did that live, I understood what he was talking about. The dude was supernatural, man. I'm telling you, because it was more than sound. It was more than rock and roll. It was more than blues. It was just some transformational thing. I don't know if I was the only person that felt that, but I felt that.
Wow. That's huge. Anytime you go to a concert and you leave with that feeling, I'm pretty sure as an entertainer, you want to have that effect on.
I saw how when he played the guitar, I saw how it affected people. It was the same thing that you see in black church when the preacher gets going. It's the same energy.
Yeah.
It was the same energy. And as a matter of fact, if you take a Hendrix record and you take the music away and just have his voice, he sounds like a Pentecostal preacher. Because, he kind of half talking, half sings.
That's right.
Right?
That's right. Yeah. I never thought about it like that. That's good.
Next time you listen to that, listen to it.
I will actually. Yeah, for sure.
We're gonna have to try that one day.
No, for sure. Just take out the.
Yeah.
So, speaking with some of the people that you've actually worked with, going back to Albert and Freddie King, how was that, in the earlier years, and then moving into going to the Michael Jackson era, the difference between those?
Well, Albert King and Freddie King, by the time I started opening shows for them. And, I was like any other 20-something guitar player. I'm like a gunslinger. I'm the fastest gun in the West. I'm going to show these old dudes what's happening. Right? Look, them guys played one note and it just blew me out the water. Right? So I thought, well, maybe I ought to stand here on the side on stage and just watch these guys. How they do that? So both of them were very encouraging to me. When they could have said, man, get out of here.
Right.
But no, they were very encouraging. And, Albert King, he was a little bit gruff, but he still was encouraging.
Yeah.
I ran into him like 20 some odd years later at a show he was doing in LA. And he had his pipe. I said, hey, Mr. King. I said, you remember me? He looked me up and down. He said, yeah, I remember you, boy. He said, you was a little skinny runt back then. You done growed. But he was cool,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
But that was really my learning curve for what you do to move folks, and the way you want to move them. We're watching them guys every night. So yeah, that was cool.
So the Michael Jackson, going into the Michael Jackson phase though. So let's talk about how that came to be. How did you link up with them? And then let's tell us just the craziest story that you remember about Michael Jackson.
Which one you want me to tell you? 'Cause there's a few of them. Well, I had moved to LA in 1980, and I wanted to go as far as I could as a professional. I figured I had the skill set now, and I was ready to take that on. And I had been playing around town in different situations, kind of freelance. Them guys, Jackson Brothers, I don't know how they caught wind of me, but I noticed that they started following me around. Like, I'd see them in the audience and I'd be like, what they doing here? Kind of thing. And I hit a slow spot. So I took a job at a guitar shop on Sunset Boulevard, repairing guitars, taking people's orders for repairing guitars and things like that. And lo and behold, one day, Randy Jackson, Marlon Jackson, and Tito Jackson come walking in the shop.
Wow.
And I'm like, man, it's them dudes again. So I wrote up a ticket for their guitar. They had one that was kind of beat up. And, told me what they wanted done to it. So they came back about a week later. And I'm looking at these guys while I'm explaining what had been done to the guitar. And I'm thinking, man, that light is going off in my head, man. You can't let these dudes walk out of here without showing them what you do. So I took the guitar and said, yeah, we fixed this and we fixed that and then we did this, And Tito turned around to me and he said, wow, man, he said, He said, you could play, man. What you doing working in here? I said, you know, things just got slow. So they invited me to play on a record they was doing called Victory.
Okay.
You know, and played on that. And didn't nobody know me from Adam. But them guys was generous enough to pay me triple scale.
Wow.
First time in a LA recording session. So man, I'm going down here with just coins in my pocket. I come out the studio, man, I done made $900 in a day.
Wow. Wow.
And the youngest one, Randy, he kept coming back and forth to the shop.
Right.
Talk to me, just sort of feel me out, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, one day, he took me to lunch. And he said, hey man, he said, would you be at all interested, like I wouldn't be, would you be at all interested in possibly playing on the tour my brothers and I are planning for next summer? And I told, what did I say to him? I said something real sarcastic.
Probably like you can't get off. You gotta work at the guitar shop. That's what you
I
said.
said, man, you know, I'm really happy with my minimum wage.
No PTO.
You know, I'm really happy with that. You
Right.
know, watching all these crazy people walking up and down Sunset Boulevard. Why do you ask? So he said, you'll have to audition. You know, but you get a fair shot, and if you're the best cat, you know, you'll get the job. So I said, okay. I said, count me in. I didn't hear from them dudes for about a year. And I was like, whatever happened to that? You know, whatever happened to Jackson's going on tour? All of a sudden one night I'm sitting there watching the news, and they had the Jacksons announcing the tour at Tavern on the Green in New York City, and that made the news. And I was like, oh, there it is. Oh, surely the phone's gonna ring. Well, the phone never rang. Never rang. And I'm like, I'm reading in Rolling Stone now, the people they starting to select to put on this thing. And I'm like, going, damn, you know, what happened? Man, I'm walking through an alleyway out in the San Fernando Valley. I'm walking through an alleyway, and it was all the backs of businesses, and there was one classic car garage. And I'm walking, and I'm like, damn, I'm gonna miss that tour, man. Shit. That cannot be Tito Jackson standing in that garage next to that car. I looked closer. It was him. I went, damn. So I walked in there, I said, hey man. I said, do you remember talking to me about the tour y'all was planning? No, I said, your brother Randy was telling me about, you know, I'd get a shot. He said, why don't you leave me your digits? He said, we wondered what happened to you. Because when that guitar shop closed, there was no way to get a hold of me.
Oh, I see.
Right?
I see.
So they said, we figured you must have left town or something, because we hadn't seen you or, you know, nothing.
Wow.
So I gave them my digits. Sure enough, man, they called me up to come to audition. And what they didn't know is that I had spent the last year learning all their stuff from I Want You Back to Thriller. I learned it all.
Wow.
And,
Preparation.
well, that's it. Preparation is everything. You ask a football coach that. It's all preparation. The team that is the best prepared is the one that's going to win.
I think a lot of times people wait till the moment is there to
Too
try
late.
to go and get prepared.
Too late.
If you would have did that, it would have been already too late. Because during that time, instead of taking that as, oh, they didn't pick me, that I didn't get a call back, you were still preparing. So that way, when that moment came, even though it was spontaneous, you're ready.
Man, look.
That's incredible.
I noticed in all their records usually had 3 guitar parts on them. I learned all 3. For every song, I learned all 3 parts. So, when the audition came, we were at this place, like this big rehearsal hall called Leeds. It was in North Hollywood. And I remember I walked in there with my guitar, and there was about 250 guitar players, of the best guitar players in the city.
Wow.
And it sounded like a beehive because Everybody was in there getting their last licks in, right? I didn't do that. First of all, I dressed like I was already in the band.
Dress for success.
Man, I had my Jerry curl, I had my glasses, my dark glasses.
You gotta help
had
me
my
see
rock and roll threads on, man, and I just walked in like I was the dude.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of stopped and looked. Like, who is that dude, man? Why does he seem so sure of himself?
Right.
And I did not pull my guitar out to do none of that bumblebee shit. I just sat there and I just as cool as a cucumber. I just didn't say nothing, didn't do nothing. Just sat there and waited my turn. And I knew it was going to be a good day because when they called me and I started walking down the hall, this door here opens from one of the other studio rooms.
Right.
Boom, smack dab into Carlos Santana.
Well, there you go. What more affirmation do you need at that point? I mean,
you know, he's like, him and Jimi Hendrix was my two guys growing up.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm standing here, here's Carlos Santana right here. I'm like, oh, wow. He said, hey, brother, what you doing, man? I said, I'm going down the hall to audition for the Jacksons. He looked me up and down, and he smiled, and he said, I hope you get the gig, brother. I hope you get the gig.
That's wow.
And I just kept on walking. I'm like, damn, Carlos Santana, wish me luck. This got to go right.
Right.
This got to go right. So I went in, and they didn't tell nobody this, but it took 3 auditions. And the reason was they was just playing it real close to the best. They had that first audition with them 200 guitar players, and they called you back. Now you get down there and it's like 25 guys left. And in the 3rd audition, there was only 5 of us.
Wow.
And all 3 of them auditions, I knew I nailed it. I knew my stuff. I was prepared.
Right.
You know. So I come home. My girlfriend's like, "Well, did you get it? Did you get it?" I said, "They ain't tell nobody nothing. They just sent us on our way." I said, "I guess we'll hear from them or we won't hear from them." But 3 days later, man, I get a call from this accountant. He said, "Yeah, I'm so and so. I'm calling to give you the pay schedule and the breakdown for the tour that's coming up."
Wow.
And that's how I found out I had the gig.
Wow.
Dang.
That's incredible, man. That's an
Dang,
incredible story,
dang,
man.
dang.
That's, man, that was like, remember that, you seen that film with Charlton Heston, The 10 Commandments?
Yeah, yeah.
Remember when he comes off Mount Sinai and now his eyes is bugged out and his hair's all white and shit?
That was
That was me, bro.
In 2 seconds.
That was me. I come off that mountaintop like, woo, what
Yeah.
the air is thin up there.
man. Just to know that all that preparation, though, it paid off. You know,
paid off.
I love stories like that.
It paid off.
Definitely.
And you wanted me to tell you a crazy Michael Jackson story.
Yeah. What you got?
Everybody, every performer, I don't care who he is, has my most embarrassing moment on stage was ...
Okay. Okay.
When I saw it happen to him, I thought, okay, this shit happens to everybody.
Yeah.
We had been playing in Philly, and it had rained that afternoon. And the way that stage was, it was this real super slick, polished linoleum floor
Okay.
that it was slick even if you wore tennis shoes.
Yeah.
But when rain hit that or water of any kind, man, that was like skeet shooting human beings,
Man.
right? So they had, after the rain stopped, they had the whole road crew out there with these big old towels mopping up, right? Well, I guess on the rigging during the show, there must have been a few raindrops left up there that somebody missed.
Drop down to the stage.
So Michael had these 2 dressing booths on each side of the stage that the audience couldn't see, but we
Right.
could see.
I got you.
And depending on what side of the stage he exited, that was the one he was going to go change for his next outfit.
Okay.
So he's over here. right? And the other guitar player in the band was this brother named David Williams, who he was just funny as hell. He was just a funny dude, man. So Michael comes out, and we playing Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. And the band is slamming. We getting ready for him. And he had this move that he used to come out real fast. He was almost running. And he plant his foot, do this twirl, man, that was like hyper speed. And somehow, I don't know if he was counting or what. He planted his foot and he was right on the mic and he was facing the audience. It was cold. Wow. It was so cold. I watched that 100,000 times during that tour, and I never figured out, you know,
how he does it.
Yeah, man. It was too fast.
Yeah.
Well, this one night that the rain dripped down, he come running out, planted his foot, and just kept going.
Oh no.
Oh man.
He just kept going. And he was holding the pose, man. He had the mic and he was holding the pose, but he just kept going. And he went off the stage into the orchestra pit. Right? And David Williams turned around to me and he goes, "Now that's something you don't see every day."
Wow. Did y'all just keep playing?
We kept playing, but boy, I tell you, I was grinning like a jack-o'-lantern.
It's like the show must go on. Just keep
Yeah,
going.
All of a sudden,
way out of it, you know?
all of a sudden, this hand come up with the microphone. Then the hand with the glove come up. Then he pulls himself up on stage, and he's just like, you know, he just had that look on his face, like, you know, man, someday it just ain't happening.
Wow.
It's like when the song. Do you remember the time?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
There's another time that we got him. Me and David got him. He was late coming to the rehearsal one day, which was really that never happened.
Okay.
But this one particular day, for whatever reason, he was coming in later than the rest of us. And we were rehearsing the song "She's Out of My Life." So we was having trouble because, you know, you didn't have the vocal to guide you. So I looked at David and I said, "Man, why don't you go up and sing that motherfucker?" You know? He said, "No, you go up and sing it." I said, "All right, let's both go up and sing it." And we went up to the microphone, and for whatever reason, we started singing "She's Out of My Life" like buckwheat.
Oh, God.
We started.
Oh, God.
We are there, 10 out of my 9, 10 out of my 9, there in the kitchen and me, dear mine.
What? Oh, man.
In the middle of that, he come walking in. That shit killed him. It killed him. He fell on the floor, just laughing. I mean, like, just back-breaking laughter. You know? And when he finally recovered, he looked at the two of us and he went, "Y'all ain't right. Y'all ain't right." So for the rest of the tour, when he sang that song, he did not look our way. Matter of fact, he had them cut the lights off, so we was back here in the dark.
You said if you looked at y'all,
Oh, he'd have lost it, man. Because, you know, it was a dramatic song.
Yeah, for sure. For
You
sure.
know?
Man, good times, man.
So, of all the guitars that you've had owned, what's one of your favorite ones to play on?
The one I have tonight. I'm just a Fender Stratocaster guy. Ever since I saw Hendrix, I was just like, oh, well, that's the tool right there. That's it. And it's the most versatile, and it's the one that fits me to the point of where it's like having a piece of clothing on. I don't even notice it. You know, it almost seems to play itself. What else did I have? I had a custom Strat built for the Victory Tour, and that was my go-to guitar for about 8 years. But as great as that guitar was, it ain't this one I got tonight. This one I've had since 2016, and it's just my go-to axe.
Baby.
It's got the tone, man. It's got the tone. It's got the feel. It's got everything.
And he's got a new amp that he's playing with tonight too. So
Oh, I'm looking forward to hearing that.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
So, okay, going forward, if you had the opportunity to play with any other artists out there, who would be your favorite, or shall I say, who would you want to collab with?
We call this the shoot your
Yes.
shot segment.
So-
right? So if you could play with anybody out there right now, who would it
Who
be?
would you want to, and I know, you can say Santana because that is like my boy. You can also say Bonamassa.
That would be a cool record. Just
I love Santana.
You know who I like? Who I've always admired is it would either be Ronald Isley
yeah.
or Paul Rogers.
I love this.
Okay.
Paul Rogers in a lot of ways does he does the vocal version of what I do. He's got blues, but he rocks at the same time, you know. And I'm kind of like that. So I figured if I ever played with Paul Rogers, I would be the perfect foil to what he does, even though he don't know it.
Hey,
Just
Paul.
saying. You know, we can make this work.
All right. So at this point, this is like I said, my favorite part of the interview. I love to ask all the artists in their shows. A lot of them have messages and things that they want to get across, and things that they stand for, that they want the audience to know. So I give this portion to you, Mr. Wright. What messages do you like to get through to your audience? Like, what do you want them to leave knowing?
I want them to come away realizing that we're all connected. Everything and everybody is connected. People try to separate people with all of these subcategories of human beings, but at the end of the day, we're all stuck on this little tiny blue ball hurtling through space at 70,000 miles an hour. Okay? And our fates are tied together. Everything that we do is tied together. From the smallest insect to an elephant. And everything in between is all connected. And it's all action and reaction. And that we make sure we treat each other that way.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yes, sir. That's good. That's good. Lindsey, any closing remarks?
Well, if you don't have your tickets, you better get your tickets because you're going to be missing out on an amazing show. This is his second time back, and I'm looking forward to it again so we can all dance, party, and have fun.
I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yes, indeed. All right, well, there it is, guys. Like I said, I really enjoyed this interview with Mr. Wright. I'm looking forward to tonight's show. Like Lindsey said, if you don't have your tickets, please go ahead on and reserve those now or come and get those walk-in tonight. We're looking forward to this show. We know it's going to be a blast, and if you're not here, it's your fault. Right there, signing off.